Thanks, Mitch, for asking me to share a few thoughts about Billy Galindo. There's a scripture verse that I thought of that reminded me of Billy's life. It comes from the Gospel of John, chapter 21, verse 25. And I quote, "There are also many things that Jesus did, but if these were to be described individually, I do not think the whole world would contain the books that would be written," unquote. I feel the same way about Billy, that there are not enough books in the world to describe Billy's life. My thoughts here this afternoon are just a few. I first started working with Billy when I was the principal at St. Edward's School in the 1980s. Billy was the physical education teacher. He was such a great teacher who loved his students dearly, and they loved him dearly. One of the reasons was because Billy respected each student who he thought was unique and special. For example, whenever he needed to discipline, he wasn't harsh with them, but instead he taught them how to get along without making the student feel unwanted or inferior. He liked to teach the students how to square dance, believe it or not. But if he got in his way while he danced by moving his wheelchair, then ouch. Another of Billy's qualities was his spirituality. Not only was he very faithful, but he used his gifts of humility, self-sacrifice, etc., to touch the lives of many, including myself. Among other things, he used his gift for teaching to help the students understand that physical health was important in their lives. Billy was a youth group leader for many years, helping teenagers become more spiritual. He was also involved with TEC, which is Teens Encounter Christ. Hang on a second, I'm trying to turn my page. Yeah. Teens Encounter Christ, the diocesan-wide program. Also, he taught confirmation classes periodically for junior high students, and he taught new altar servers how to serve at Mass, including Hunter, who got the award tonight. Fortunately, I was blessed to work with Billy as his principal, with his youth group, and with TEC. After Billy encouraged me to get involved, which I did for 12 years, in other words, Billy helped me become the best person I could with his love for life. He touched my heart deeply. By the way, did you know that Billy never saw his handicap as a handicap in living his daily life? For example, if we had a teachers' meeting, we usually had a luncheon. Billy would sit at the corner of a table, and I would sit at the end. After I got his food, all he wanted was for me to place his fork in his hand, and then he would eat, just like everybody else. Same thing with the drink. I would put his drink in his hand, kind of like this, and he would do the rest. He was very independent. Speaking of food, I can't talk about Billy without talking about his love of food. He and I love Mexican food, and once in a while we would eat at a Mexican restaurant. I bet you know what I'm going to refer to next, aren't you? Yes, there was nothing like his mom's home cooking, for she made it with love, and Billy ate it with love. As I mentioned before, Billy didn't let his disability stop him from doing things everybody else did. For instance, one day I went down by the river because I heard people were going to bungee jump. Lo and behold, there was Billy. Next thing I know, he's being lifted up in the air, wheelchair and all. I couldn't believe it. Down he came with nary a scratch. Talk about courage. I would never have done that. I like both my feet on solid ground. Billy always thought of others before himself. For example, whenever I would begin a conversation by asking him how he was doing, he would say, fine. Then he would reflect right away back to me by asking how I was doing. How's my family doing? And so forth. One year, Billy bought me a stone for my birthday that had Delgado on it with a Sox logo. There's one other Sox fan in here right over there. Even though he was a Cubs fan, it meant a lot to me because when I see it, I think of Billy. It's on my front yard. How many of you know that St. Mary's Playground was named after Billy? There's a stone with his name on it at the playground. He deserved it because he was so highly thought of by everyone. Billy lived a complete and fulfilled life. I refer to his life with the 3 L's. First, laughter. Billy was filled with joy, smiles, and laughter. Next, love. Billy loved with the unconditional love of Christ. Lastly, life. Billy loved life, and his life reflected that immensely. Billy, we love you dearly, and will always have fond memories of you. Enjoy your heavenly home till we meet up with you again. Peace, my friend and my brother. Thank you.